Steve, let's start with the household piece of this because you guys obviously track consumer confidence quite closely. We just heard Secretary Mnuchin very clearly say checks are coming immediately. He said within the next 2 weeks. How big of an impact do you think that'll have?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Consumer confidence is critically important here, and we're working on two scenarios. One is that this carries through April and then everything gets back and normalizes. The other is that it carries through the summer. The critical factor in consumer confidence is jobs, and how do I, as a consumer, feel about the safety of my job and the continuation of those wages? If I'm confident about that, we know the consumer spending will continue. We know that that's critical for the economic recovery from this situation. But if layoffs start to happen because these things continue to be deferred into the summer, then all bets are off, and then it's likely that we will have a recession. We did an informal poll of our members last week, several dozen of our members, and they are in the optimistic mode. That none of them have done layoffs. Very few of them have backed off hiring. So I think we still are in the mode where we could save this thing, but we need to prevent layoffs.
Right. And Marriott this morning announced some furloughs. Obviously, companies that have seen their business dry up are trying to find some way of not necessarily laying people off. But so this next step, here we have it. So let's turn to the business side of this announcement, which is meant to prevent, like you're saying, these layoffs, to try to help companies keep going. What could make the biggest difference there?
Well, you have to look at these companies that are on the bubble, right? So you've got about $700 billion worth of BBB minus debt. What happened in the financial crisis is that S&P and Moody's downgraded them immediately. All those companies lost their financing. They had to refinance at ABLs if they could get it at all. It was a disaster. They had to then hoard cash. So it created a liquidity crisis, through the economy. We've got to take care of those companies, obviously the people who are on the bubble, but we've got to take care of those companies that are on the bubble so that we don't trigger these kinds of layoffs. And so I'm not sure about the $1,000 check strategy.
Well,
I think what I would be doing is trying to take care of those companies and trying to prevent those layoffs.
Right.
Kelly.
And so in that case, moves like deferring taxes or getting some loan relief. What you're actually saying is that we should have the credit rating agencies, I don't know, suspend maybe any ratings moves on companies for the next 60 days or something like that in order so you don't trigger this cascade of hoarding cash, seeing they're being downgraded and so forth.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do that legally, but I think the point here is if the government is willing to do direct financing or stand behind these companies, particularly in industries, we could bankrupt every airline in the world, every travel company and so forth. Everything that's out of home is going to get affected here. By the way, there are a lot of positives in this, too. It's a stock picker's dream. All the in-home things, food, grocers, entertainment, Amazon, Netflix, HBO, all of those companies will benefit. But I think in the long run here, it will totally depend on how many people we keep working and we keep wages going so that consumer confidence stays high.
And that's an important nuance, that if there's a government backstop, the agencies themselves may not downgrade to the extent that they would have. All right, Steve, a lot of good concepts there. That we always appreciate. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Steve Odland.